mulligan, Grant's going to have a pretty stacked hand, at least cards-wise. The quality, we'll have to wait to find out. But there we go, fist bump. We are ready for our top 4 here in Portland.
Let's go. All right. Grant starting off with the Hisuian Heavy Ball. I thought we were going to see a Battle VIP pass, but no, it's a Heavy Ball.
Maybe it's still to come. Hisuian Heavy Ball allows you to check your prizes without having to count your deck.
Oh, yeah. This is actually a big mental time saver. Just being able to look at your prize cards instead of having to search through your deck and figuring out what 6 cards are prized. I mean, yeah, it's just much easier to look at them.
Flower selecting to start things off for Grant now. Finds a Forest Sealstone and a Lightning Energy. Opts to keep the Forest Sealstone. That is such a powerful tool card. Being able to grant.
Right into the Pokestop.
All right. Pokestop finds Energy Recycler, discards that Water Energy in a Comfey.
I don't see a Battle VIP pass. I don't see any way to get more Pokemon down. I think that's the only thing we're going to see this turn.
Yeah, that is a little awkward. Not even a Pokemon V to put that Forest Sealstone on and use that Star Alchemy.
Yeah, that's going to be, considering all the mulligans, that's going to be a pretty tame first turn for Grant. You're hoping to get at least 2 in the Lost Zone, use a couple flower selecting abilities, but not just the one. And that's going to be on to Landen, who did start with the preferred starting Pokemon, Arceus V. We've seen this card be phenomenal for a long time. We're always wondering, when is it time for this powerhouse card to finally be pushed aside out of the metagame? And the answer is not quite yet.
Are you talking about Arceus or Mew? I'm confused, but
yeah.
Both.
Or Pikarom.
Ultra Ball is going to start things off for Landen's side and discards that Giratina V-Star and a switch. He's going to be able to eye down maybe an Arceus V. Against Lost Box, you aren't normally worried about your Pokemon V getting knocked out, but the Turbo version that Grant's playing, that's a different thing.
That's true. Although, Grant only getting 1 card into the Lost Zone on turn 1 makes you feel a little bit better. But yeah, that's true. This deck is capable of, getting, with Lost Vacuum, Colress's Experiment, Flower Selecting, you can get to 7 pretty quickly in the Lost Zone and Mirage Gate onto Dragonite V and knock out an Arceus V. So there is, a small risk, if you were just to attach a basic energy to the active like what's happening here.
Path to the Peak, Giratina V, and then a Professor's Research to refill the hand here. Landen's looking pretty good, at least just for cards available. No double Turbo Energy is a little worrisome, though.
Yeah, especially with the Path to the Peak in play. It's going to shut off your own Starburst, right? But now we're on Grant's turn. Looks like there is a Colress's Experiment, so should be okay, but...
oh, there's the Battle VIP pass.
Yeah, not as helpful now.
Yeah, talking about saving time mentally, yeah, I only need to get rid of 1 card now instead of both of them.
Yeah, there's still no way to find more Pokemon. This flower selecting is going to have to find something good here.
Kyogre's a Pokemon.
Yep, that's one you usually wait till later to use.
Again, no Pokemon V as well. We know that Forest Sealstone was one of the first cards grabbed for Grant here, and it's kind of rough. You have this giant hand, you have Colress's Experiments, but you're missing the Comfeys now.
Yeah, this is not going to be a very good turn 2 for Grant. This is not Turbo at all. This is false advertising, Jeremy.
It's all right. Turbo can also mean slow and opposite day, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, there's not even a way to get a Pokemon V so you can use the Forest Sealstone. There's just nothing.
Retreat to Manaphy, that's what we like to see.
It's hard to have this many cards in hand and not be able to do anything. But somehow, this is what we're seeing.
A replacement energy on the Comfey just to set up for another retreat, hopefully in the following turn. There's a pass back.
Now, like you mentioned, there's no double Turbo for Landen. There's not even a way to get an Arceus V-Star. There's only a Judge.
Yeah, I think we might see a Trinity charge here.
I mean, I guess if your opponent's going to have that bad of a hand, you do have some time to use Trinity charge.
And here is some cards flying, but eventually it's going to be a judge flying, I would guess.
Yep.
Nest Ball kind of thinned the deck out a little bit. You don't really need any other Pokemon. You got that Bidoof in hand.
And not even going to play it down. Wow.
Yeah.
Just saying, you know what? I don't need Industrious Incisors in this matchup, which is probably fair. You know, your hand is not going to get disrupted by a Lost Box deck usually. Also, your game plan is pretty straightforward. You just charge up your Pokemon with energy and you attack every turn. It's not really a matchup where you even need to have boss's orders very often. You're basically just going to be announcing Trinity Nova as much as you can.
4 cards here for Landen. Couple trekking shoes.
Yeah. Now, Jeremy, would you be playing these shoes, or would you thin the deck out with Trinity Charge this turn first?
I like waiting. You get to charge up your Arceus V on the bench, maybe even the Giratina if you just want to shred later on. And then you can use the shoes to try to find that Arceus V-Star when the deck's a little bit thinner.
Yeah, totally agree. And yeah, Landen has no energy in hand, so going to Trinity Charge 1 to the active Arceus V. And then trying to figure out how to split up the other two. Looks like, yep, Arceus is your main game plan here. It's a little awkward to commit too many basic energy cards to them, because you do attach double turbo to them typically, but hey, they're powered up.
Grant's going to start things off. Colress's Experiment yet again. Look at the top 5. Oh, another Battle VIP pass.
Yeah. And maybe even a little annoying for Grant that Manaphy didn't get knocked out.
Yeah.
Probably assuming that would happen, and then you'd be able to promote Comfey to the active spot, use Flower Selecting, but because Landen missed the turn 2 Trinity Nova, now Grant is in an awkward position where he may have to, I don't know, play an escape rope, switch cart, just to get that Comfey back in the active spot.
Kyogre goes to the Lost Zone along with that Battle VIP pass, and I'm sad.
Still no Aqua Storm.
Escape Rope will bring up the Comfey yet again. Flower Selecting, another card in the Lost Zone. I think we're going to be up to 7 now, and that means Mirage Gate is live.
Sure is. Grant doesn't seem too happy about this decision here on the 2 cards. I don't blame him. This game hasn't gone very well for him. It hasn't gone that great for Landen either, but the amount of things that Landen needs to get going is much smaller than Grant's situation. All you need to do is power up your big Pokemon V-Star, and that's it. You just keep attacking.
Meanwhile, there's so many moving parts in Grant's deck, and just trying to get some KOs cobbled together, you're basically just eyeing down a machine. Nest Ball is going to search for that Cramorant. That means you will be able to start attacking at least finally, spit instantly 110 damage. As long as you have 4 or more cards in the Lost Zone, you can use it for free.
Yep, going to get some damage on board. And I wonder if we'll see Grant use a strategy similar to what Azul did in the Swiss round that we saw earlier. The second energy go on the Comfey. That's pretty funny. Primarily just try to get damage on the board and then eventually use Radiant Greninja to Moonlight Shuriken and then Sableye to Lost Mine. So as long as you can do attacks every turn, put damage on your opponent's board, eventually you'll get some knockouts. This is much different than some of the other matchups we've seen where it's just one-hit knockouts, smash your opponent's active Pokemon as hard as you can. On Grant's side, this is going to be a lot of technical play, precise damage counter placement, and kind of going for a long game where you're not getting one-hit knockouts. You may not even getting 2-hit knockouts, but eventually you're going to build up enough damage to take 6 prize cards.
That's what Grant's trying to do. Meanwhile, Trekking Shoes found exactly what Landen needed. Ultra Ball for that Arceus V-Star. Trekking Shoes again. Going to discard that B-Barrel. Don't need it. Don't really need that card either, but we at least can attack.
Landen did not Trinity Charge to the active last turn.
No, the escape rope.
Oh, escape
Yeah.
rope. Yes, of course.
So
That makes more sense,
He
yeah.
actually manually retreats that Arceus V-Star,
That's
power
painful.
edge with the Arceus V, but double turbo energy from the prizes. Flower selecting, getting rid of another battle VIP pass. Hey, if you at least can't fight it on turn 1, they are better off in the Lost Zone.
Yeah.
Beach Court bumping that path to the peak will turn on concealed cards from Radiant Greninja, and finally, this hand's starting to seem a little bit better. The judge really helped out. Who would have thought having less cards means a better hand?
Yeah. Am I just remembering incorrectly? Did Landen choose to evolve that Arceus before playing the trekking shoes?
Yeah.
Okay, so potentially missed out on retreating and then evolving this one and using Trinity Nova to get extra energy in play.
And there is a retreat for free thanks to that Beach Court. Cramorant back in the active spot, hoping that these Spit Innocently attacks are good enough for now. And honestly, might seem like it.
Yeah. All right, so another 110 damage attack. The nice thing for Landen is that Power Edge does knock out basically everything in the Lost Box deck. Do see a double turbo. Okay, and yeah, the good news is that Grant did get rid of the path to the peak, so now we can actually see Starbirth being used. And now we will probably see an Arceus V-Star, and we'll maybe finally see our first Trinity Nova of this game.
It'd be nice. Starbirth, a super powerful ability on that Arceus V-Star, able to search your deck for any 2 cards.
Yeah. Jeremy, in this situation, you can take any 2 cards. I would assume that one will be an Arceus V-Star, but then there's a big choice. Would you go for Judge to try to disrupt your opponent, or Professor's Research to try to give yourself 7 new cards?
I think if the B-Barrel was in play, Judge is a lot more safe. But the fact that Landen has just foregone it this entire game, actively discarded the B-Doof and all that, Professor's Research, you have to go here. You're going to be discarding your hand anyway. Might as well.
Fair enough. We do see a heads-up play, not grabbing an Arceus V-Star, but rather grabbing an Ultra Ball to thin a card out of the deck. Ultra Ball, not necessarily a card you want to be drawing the rest of the game. And you have 2 cards you're happy to throw away there with the Cleansing Gloves and the Escape Rope. So heads-up play to, that could be important later, making sure you don't draw that Ultra Ball.
All right, maybe we should have gone for Judge.
Huh.
3 paths of the peak from that Professor's Research. It's good now, and then 3 energy to go along with it. Is there energy left in the deck? There is, okay.
Yeah, several. Well, 2, I think.
Couple, yeah. I think there's a difference between several and a couple.
Yep.
There's a few in between.
Yeah, fair enough.
Both of those energies are going to power up that Giratina V on the bench. Landen going down to 4 prize cards now, but with 2 Arceus V-Stars that have 110 apiece on them, Grant is finally going to get to that 8 in the Lost Zone, hopefully this turn. And from there, we're going to see Sableye put in a lot of work. Found a Colress's Experiment.
Yeah, these are the situations, when you're watching a Lost Box deck where it's hard to predict where things are going to go next. There's just so many flexible options with Sableye, placing 12 damage counters wherever. You can Radiant Greninja to Moonlight Shuriken. And it's really difficult unless you're the person playing the deck to know exactly how many resources are left, what's going to be the most efficient line of play. Grant deciding that it's okay to throw away Clara and a Psychic Energy here.
It's rough, though.
Yeah.
Again, Lost Box is all about maintaining your resources throughout this entire game. Once those cards hit the Lost Zone, you're not able to get them anymore. So you really have to be careful with every decision you make.
Oh, we see the Raikou V coming down with the Forest Sealstone.
Now a mini Starbirth for Grant here. That's Star Alchemy from that Forest Sealstone.
Looking for the Dragonite V? Okay. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
All right, so single prizers are out of here. We are going with Raikou and Dragonite for the rest of the game, apparently.
Energy Recycler will put back in those 5 basic energies left in the discard. Mirage Gate will help power up either that Raikou or Dragonite V. And Grant is looking to speed this game up a little bit.
I think so.
I think 3 Mirage Gate in hand as well.
So yeah, Dragonite can knock out this active Arceus V-Star. It's a little scary, right? Because your opponent has Giratina powered up a bit already. Could see a Giratina V-Star and respond for a knockout on that Dragonite V. But if that doesn't happen, Dragonite V is pretty tanky, 230 HP. Arceus V-Star cannot knock it out in one hit, so this is potentially a way to swing the prize trade back in your favor. Dragonite can knock out those 2 Arceus V-Star back-to-back, and if Landen isn't able to get like a one-hit knockout, it could be huge.
All right, and with that switch card, able to bring up that Dragonite V to the active, take the knockout. Gonna have to damage the bench a little bit, but it's all right. And we saw Landen's hand last turn. There's no way to get this Giratina V-Star. Gonna have to rely off the top of the deck, finds an Arceus V, and that's not doing it.
All right, Jeremy, is it Squovit time?
Is that okay? Yeah.
Just one card.
Is there? Okay, there is one Arceus, or no, one Giratina V-Star in the deck.
I mean, I think Landen's kind of committing to this.
You have to.
Decided that Trinity Nova was not worth it. Has already committed to the attachment for the turn to the active Giratina V. I don't think there's a supporter card in hand. There's just a Squovit. We might see the Nest Stash.
Doesn't grab the Arceus V in the deck, so it's really just relying on Nest Stash here.
One card, Jeremy. One card. It needs to be a supporter card or a Giratina V-Star.
All right, you shuffle your hand, put it to the bottom, draw one card.
Oh, no way!
Giratina V-Star taking the knockout on Dragonite. What's going on?
Oh, what? I mean, come on. You got to respect going for it. But to actually hit it off the one card? Whew. Okay.
Insane. Landen back in this game already. All thanks to that little Squovit.
Oh, man. And this is a situation where, I mean, if you're in Grant's shoes, what are you even thinking at this point? Your opponent off a one card hits the one Giratina V-Star. I mean, it just has to be a little bit tilting, I would say.
I have to agree. That was as hype as it could be.
Wow.
And Grant really needs to change gears now. Was really hoping for that Dragonite V to stick around and take 4 prizes.
All right, well, now what? We do see the switch cart going to heal off 20. That could be relevant later. So that Arceus V-Star cannot Trinity Nova with the double turbo to knock out a Raikou V unless you have a choice belt. And looks like a boss's orders. Maybe going to bring up the Squovit. And Grant just hoping that, the 2 cards off the prizes plus 1 from another Nest Stash doesn't allow Landen to get an attack off.
Card for the turn is a Giratina V.
What a weird game this became.
V-Guard Energy in hand. There's also a Raihan.
Yep, not useful because none of your Pokemon were knocked out. I think this was a heads-up play from Grant, and I mean, very impressive to keep your cool after something like that happens. Looks
All
like
right, Nest Stash.
Nest Stash. All right, this time we need a switch.
All right, switch. Nope. V-Guard Energy already is attached for the turn. That's just a pass. Grant's going to have another turn to try to figure out how to take these last 4 prize cards.
Yeah, now things get interesting. Let's see, there's 120 on Giratina V-Star, 110 on Arceus V-Star. Is there an opportunity to split the damage up with Lost Mine so that a Moonlight Shur can get your final 4 prize cards next turn? I'm not going to bother trying to do the math because I'm probably just going to screw it up.
Well, okay.
You need to get the Giratina to 190.
There's 170 left on the Arceus. So if you
Yeah, I don't think that works.
if you put 80 there, it'll get it within range of Moonlight Shuriken, and you're not going to have enough to spread between both of them.
Oh, you're right. Did that earlier too.
All right. No, not quite going to be enough. We do see an energy and a judge.
Wow. All right.
Landon just living
found.
off the top of the deck.
Is there any better way, honestly?
I mean, you could have the barrel in play. That's a better way, usually, in my experience. But I think Landon just not wanting to put down perhaps a liability, knowing that Grant plays cards like Echoing Horn to potentially prey on like a Bidoof a second time later.
Listen, Babarrel's not as cool as Squovet, Nestash, find the card you need.
True, true.
But off this judge, both players are going to get 4. We'll have to see if they find the cards they need. Double Turbo Energy, Professor's Research. Not going to do anything this turn.
So the awkward thing here is, you can attack with Giratina V-Star, but then you have to send 2 of your energy to the Lost Zone. And just looking at it, now Arceus has 120 HP left, so a Lost Mine could knock that out. So if you remove 2 energy from your Giratina V-Star and leave the double turbo, you would only have 1 on Giratina. So if Arceus gets knocked out, you have no good attack on the next turn. If you Lost Zone the energy from the Arceus, then your Giratina can get knocked out, and then you don't have an attack next turn. So this is still really an awkward situation for Landon. There could even be some merit in not attacking here and trying to find a boss's orders to just knock out Raikou V next turn. But, I mean, even then, you just get knocked out by Lost Mine, right? So
Yeah.
This is a really tough situation. Whew.
Well, Landon did retreat the Squovet into the Giratina V-Star. I think to kind of play around this scenario, you would probably attach the Arceus V-Star last turn. But the way things have played out, this Giratina V-Star is going to have to try and Lost Impact its way into finishing off of this game here. And if you do take care of the Sableye, Grant was judged. The hand is now back to 4 cards. Maybe there's not another Sableye in the mix.
Yeah, there's a Clara in the Lost Zone as well.
You attached it, Sorry, did you attach the Squovet this turn, or did you attach it this turn?
And I think they're clarifying it.
Yep, there was an attachment this turn already.
Last turn.
Yep, the V-Guard was to Giratina V-Star on the last turn, and then there was a V-Guard attached to Squovet on this turn to pay for the retreat. So now Landon's going to have to decide what to do.
To Tina. That was last turn.
I think
Because when I bossed this
you have to just remove 2 from the Giratina.
I think so, yeah.
Force your opponent to have Sableye.
Because something like the Raikou can
I passed.
take a knockout, or Radiant Greninja take the knockout.
I had to attach that turn. I attached, attached to Squovet.
Players just talking through, attachments that have happened. I don't think any errors have happened here.
No, yeah.
So last turn you
V-Guard last turn on the Giratina, and then V-Guard this turn on the Squovet.
All right. So we do need to see, well, we're going to see the mustache. Here we go.
Even with the research in hand.
Yeah, well, so I think the best out Landon has here, you go for Raihan next turn.
Yeah.
One of your Pokemon's going to get knocked out, and then you can just Raihan and get the game that way. So yeah, I think it's got to be 2 from the active, but you don't feel good about it.
No, not at all.
So even after the Miracle Nest Dash into the Giratina V-Star, Grant has found a way to put himself in a good position here.
1 prize card left for Landon in this game 1 of our top 4 here in Portland. Both players looking to get that big win. Grant's going to promote that Radiant Greninja. Moonlight Shuriken is an option to attack with.
And Grant does have a Sableye in hand, but I don't think any way to get a Psychic Energy.
There was at least 1 shuffled back in with the Recycler, but it might have just been attached to that last Sableye.
Yeah, and now to me, the bigger question is, what even is the best line of play? If you knock out the Arceus, you lose to a Raihan. If you just spread damage to both of them, you would then force your opponent to have like a switch plus an energy. So it might be better to just not take any knockouts here, spread the damage out, and set up for a Lost Mine on the following turn. And Grant does have the Mirage Gate to set up another Lost Mine.
It's going to be big, too. That also means you don't have to take the knockout, like you were saying. Otherwise, if you're going for a Moonlight Shuriken, I do believe that would knock out the active Giratina V-Star.
Exactly.
Psychic Energy on the Sableye, Lightning Energy on that Raikou V. And this is nearing the end game here for Grant, really needing to play perfectly and dodge the perfect card off the top from Landen, essentially.
We'll see what Grant decides to do here. You assume your opponent plays one Raihan in these Arceus decks usually. But we'll see which route he decides to go for. This is a tense first game. A great way to kick off our top 4.
Oh, I wouldn't have it any other way. So 190 on the active, 160 on that benched Arceus.
The other 4 goes on Arceus.
And yep, 7 on the active, 4 on that benched Arceus. Let's draw for the turn boss's orders.
Yep. So here we are again. Skwovet would need to hit like a professor's research.
The one we put at the bottom last turn, yeah.
Yeah, that one.
All right.
So we're just waiting in suspense to see what Landen does next. Skwovet, save me one more time.
How many berries can this Skwovet stash?
What have you been stashing?
All right, that's not it.
Well, that'll do it.
Game 2. Grant able to pull off the victory here in top 4 after the crazy nest stash, finding that Giratina V-Star.
Wow. Well, that was certainly an exciting way to kick off this match. Yeah, I mean, Skwovet is one of those new cards from the Scarlet and Violet expansion. You know, usually you use that ability in tandem with V-Barrel with the Industrious Incisors. You know, when your hand gets clogged, you can put it on the bottom of your deck, draw 1 card, and then refill your hand with the Industrious Incisors. Great way to draw through your deck. But when you don't have the V-Barrel, you throw your hand away and you draw 1 card, which is not a lot of cards.
It is a lot less than 5.
Yep.
Usually you want them in combination together. But when you do that, you put 2 Pokemon that are pretty easily knocked out by Sableye later on in the game. And you just have to say, is it worth the risk?
Yeah, so that was a pretty lengthy first game. And Grant was able to take it down, but it took nearly 30 minutes in our 75-minute best-of-3 match here. Now, Jeremy, you've played in a lot of events. You've been here before. What goes through your head after you lose like a long game 1 like that?
You really do need to be cognizant about time. In Top Cut, it's a little bit easier because there's 75 minutes compared to the normal 50 minutes that we have in Swiss. But because of that, I think you can't rush yourself. You don't want to make a mistake that you normally would not make and can't get tilted, you know? It's just take it 1 game at a time.
Yep. All right. We do have a mulligan from Landen once again. You know, this Arceus Giratina deck doesn't play the most basic Pokemon, but there's still 9 in there. Let's see. Looks like we do have 1 this time, but Grant will start with an extra card in hand to start the game. Also has the Radiant Greninja in the prize cards, which could be important. That is one of your crucial draw engines for this deck.
A couple of ways to get back resources in that Energy Recycler and Clara as well. Could be bad depending on how these flower selectings and Colossus experiments go early on. Meanwhile, Landen does have that double turbo energy, the thing that was missing from turn 1, turn 2. So Arceus V-Star is looming, and Grant is hoping to get some cards in the Lost Zone.
All right, Jeremy. So Landen opted not to play down Giratina V, which I think is correct. You don't want to get hit by Escape Rope. but this is a turbo Lost Box deck.
Don't say it to me. Don't say it to me, Kyle.
It is possible to get 7 cards into the Lost Zone on the first turn and Mirage Gate on to Dragonite V and get a turn 1 knockout on an Arceus V. Now, it's not very likely, but it is possible.
Yeah, especially with Grant starting the Sableye instead of the Comfey, it's going to be a little bit harder. You're going to need an extra switch card here.
Mm-hmm. That's tougher without Radiant Greninja.
Yes. I'm still going to hold my breath, though, because that is scary, and we have seen crazier things happen in just this match.
Okay. One escape rope to start. Do we find a battle VIP pass? No.
All right, easy. Another Comfey to use that switch cart. And wow, Grant's hand is terrible.
All right, well, I think Landen's going to make it through the turn.
Oh, okay, maybe not. Hisuian Heavy Ball grabbing that Radiant Greninja. The hand is full of energies, so you got that going for you. Concealed cards. 2 cards. Can find Colress's Experiment, maybe a Pokemon V, maybe a Forest Seal Stone.
Yep. And you saw Grant immediately, got to prize check with the first deck search. Noticed that the Radiant Greninja was prized, and instant reaction seeing the Hisuian Heavy Ball off that flower selecting was huge. And yeah, we're going to see 2 cards. Will we see a Colress's Experiment?
Oh, there's the Forest Seal Stone, but I don't see the Colress's Experiment or a Pokemon V, and it looks like the Turbo is no more, at least for this turn.
All right.
This is good news for Landen.
So Grant trying to decide, should I save one of my Comfey? So decides, yes, I would rather have a Sableye get knocked out. It's pretty likely your opponent would play like a Boss's Orders this turn. Probably going to go for Judge. So you want to have multiple Comfey down in preparation for that. So yeah, heads up play to, let the Sableye get knocked out because you don't need that at the moment.
Meanwhile, Landen has a pretty stellar hand here. Arceus V-Star, Nest Ball for another Arceus, and the hand has the energy, and along with Starbirth, you have everything you want.
Yeah, looking
Even a
pretty good.
Professor's Research in that hand. Trekking Shoes will find Ultra Ball, discards that.
Yep, just too costly to play with that hand.
And here is that Starbirth. Going to grab 2 cards from the deck. What 2 cards do you think, Kyle?
Probably Path and Judge, if I had to guess.
Ooh, what about Path and Boss's Orders?
Oh, wow. There actually is going to be a Boss's Orders.
Yeah.
Then. Okay.
Boss's Orders will allow Landen to bring up a Comfey, and that will slow down Grant's setup quite a lot here.
Yeah. As you noted, Landen does have Professor's Research in hand for next turn. So it's not like this was some sort of all-in play. But yeah.
If it was, we have Squovet for later, so it's fine.
True. All right, and we do see a turn 2 Trinity Nova in this game. Remember, Landen did have a pretty bad start in game number 1. Both players did. This game, no such luck for Grant. It's going to be a turn 2 attack for a knockout, charging 3 energy onto that Arceus V.
Meanwhile, Grant drew a Nest Ball for turn. That's going to be able to get a Pokemon V to use that for Seal Stone if he wants. And then off this flower selecting, a little bit interesting decision here. You have Pokestop to get rid of that Path to the Peak or the second Comfey, and opted with the Pokemon.
Yeah, this is going to be a tricky turn. I don't think we've even seen a Colress's Experiment from Grant yet, right?
No, not yet.
Yikes.
Ooh. Another Comfey off the top. This time going into the Lost Zone, valuing that Psychic Energy. And
yeah, this could be a situation where you Nest Ball for Dragonite V, put the Forest Seal Stone down, and just grab a Colress's Experiment. That doesn't feel great, but it also doesn't feel great to do nothing this turn.
Yeah, no access to Cramorant just yet. But this Forest Seal Stone will be able to find Colress's Experiment. Colress's Experiment, who knows? 5 cards.
Yeah, and Landen, of note, did not put any energy on Giratina V with the Trinity Nova. So does not have a Giratina V-Star response lined up against this Dragonite V yet.
And there's the first Colress's experiment for Grant. Not really finding too much, though. A couple energies, another Colress for next turn.
Yep, I think Grant may have been looking for a lost vacuum here.
Only the one in the deck, though.
Yeah, but only 4 in the lost zone currently, so it's going to go to 6, which means there's no Mirage Gate quite yet.
No other Comfey to use Flower Selecting for the turn. That means it's looking like Grant might pass, and Landen's going to take a 2-prize lead in this game, too.
Yeah, definitely looking that way. And we'll see if Grant decides to do the same thing as the previous turn and end the turn with Sableye in the active spot. We do have one Comfey in the discard pile, one in the lost zone, so these are the final 2 in play. Looks like Grant is going to pass. That leaves him with just one Comfey to use Flower Selecting for the rest of the game. You can Clara for some if you need to, but that doesn't feel great.
Well, if you think about it, you're all about hitting those magic numbers. Just 1 away from 7 for that Mirage Gate. That Comfey on the bench is doing exactly that. Then you have that Colress's experiment that gets up to 9, and you just need 1 more Flower Selecting. But you can wait a couple turns for Lost Mine. Meanwhile, Landen, full speed ahead. Giratina V-Star, Professor's Research, Energy. And this board is what you like to see when you're playing Arceus deck.
Yep.
Especially with no damage.
Maybe grab a Squovit, put your hand on the bottom of your deck.
Yeah, probably not right now.
Would not advise that.
Important to note that Trinity Nova did not grab any energy, drew into the rest of them in the deck.
Yeah, see, if you nest dashed your hand to the bottom, there would be 2 energy to accelerate.
All right, Kyle. You need to calm down. We saw it happen once. I don't know about multiple times.
Look, if we can't have Aqua Storm, we need to have nest dash, okay?
I see a Kyogre in Grant's hand. Mirage Gate will allow Grant to power up either that Radiant Greninja or that Dragonite V, eyeing down that water and lightning energy.
Going for the Radiant Greninja. Trying to go for this sequence of softening up a V-Star and then following up with the Dragonite V to Dragon Gale for that big 250 damage attack. So we'll see if Grant is able to power up Moonlight Shuriken. I assume 1 hit would go on to the Giratina and then 1 onto an Arceus V-Star. That way, you could knock out the Giratina with Dragonite V, and then there's nothing there to respond for a knockout.
All right, hold on. We finally found Cramorant. And it's going to the Lost Zone.
Yeah. It's not particularly useful at this stage of the game. It's good on the first or second turn, but later on, you have Sableye, you have way better attackers.
Much like this Radiant Greninja, Moonlight Shuriken has been a powerful attack for a lot of these Lost Box decks. And it really just helps you set up your KOs for later on.
All right, so Grant is down 2 prize cards before really getting off an attack this game. Is this a lead that he can come back from?
Honestly, going to be down 3 prize cards before even attempting to take a prize.
Yep. Is going to be able to use Moonlight Shuriken, so there is going to be a significant amount of damage dealt this turn. Grant must feel like, I'm still in this game. I see a path to win in the next, 3 or 4 turns. Do you see the Kyogre come down?
And there is that Moonlight Shuriken, 90 on the active, 90 on the benched Arceus V-Star to go along with it.
Yep, and Grant just saying, I do not respect your Giratina V-Star. Arceus is the problem card here. I'm going to go for those.
Landen has a grip of cards.
Yeah, and looking at the situation, Grant might look at how Landen didn't get any energy off of the Trinity Nova. Might just be thinking, you know what? I don't think you can even power up Giratina V-Star.
We know there's a couple energy in hand, and they could be going to the bottom of the deck. We see that Squovit being eyed down for Landen here.
It's time.
Also, boss's orders in hand, I think, to go along with the judge.
Looks like it.
Could also just fail to find this nest ball. And
Yep.
it looks like that's what Landen's going to do. Now, you have the option of boss or judge. What would be your choice here, Kyle?
It's tough. You know, it's always very tempting to knock out the Radiant Greninja. I could see just going after Dragonite, but with this attachment to Giratina, I might lean towards Judge. But I don't know, it's close.
Could also eye down the Comfey. Remember, Grant is at 9, but a single Colress's experiment would put him over the mark for Lost Mine. Maybe the Kyogre, you're scared of Aqua Storm.
Looks like Landen is eyeing up a boss's orders. What's the target? Yeah, gonna go after the Comfey. Just trying to take off the engine of Grant.
That does make your later judges better, just because Grant doesn't have access to flower selecting, and along with the path to the peak in play, no concealed cards.
Yep, and now the question for Grant is, which Pokemon are you attacking with this turn? Is this where you feel comfortable going in with the Dragonite V, knowing that just one energy away from Giratina V-Star using Lost Impact to knock it out. Your opponent takes 2 prize cards. Not a great situation to be in. Do you have a better attack than that right now?
We'll have to see. Grant does have Colress's Experiment, Mirage Gate in hand, a Psychic Energy. So can use Lost Mine this turn, spread some damage.
Yeah, that's a really tricky spot. I mean, a lot of it depends on what resources Grant has left. You're always trying to look for, can I Aqua Storm? Can I Lost Mine a couple times into an Aqua Storm? Can I do something like Lost Mine, set up the Giratina, knock out the Giratina with Dragonite, and then do some sort of Echoing Horn Aqua Storm play? Just want to see Aqua Storm, But Dragonite V is going to come into the active spot right here. Grant, again, saying, you know what, I don't think your Giratina can knock me out. Or even saying, you know what, even if you do, you're going to have to send 2 energy to the Lost Zone. Maybe that's fine.
Grant opting maybe not to grab these Psychic Energies, put them back in the deck. Could signal maybe Clara later on, maybe even this turn potentially.
Definitely a difficult situation for Grant to navigate out of. If he had started attacking 1 turn sooner, if Landen had 1 more prize card, I can see this going a lot better for Grant, but it looks pretty ugly at the moment. You will get this knockout with the Dragonite V, take 2 prize cards, but then your opponent can use Giratina V-Star to just Lost Impact for the knockout. Then they're at 1 prize card, and it seems pretty easy for Landen to clean up 1 more prize card, but we'll see.
With this Mirage Gate, the Dragonite V is just 1 water energy from being powered up. I'm going to have to find it off this Colress's Experiment. Does not find it.
None of those look blue to me. No Mirage Gate either.
Now, Grant does have access to the Psychic in hand along with an Escape Rope.
All right.
And I think that's why Grant was kind of debating putting the Psychic Energy in the deck, just because it's 1 card that is not a water energy.
All right, Lost Vacuum gonna, concealed cards
okay.
into the water energy, and that's gonna power up that Dragon Gale to get this crucial knockout. Wow.
The 1 Lost Vacuum coming in clutch. Dragon Gale taking the knockout, 20 damage on Grant's bench. Landen has the energy to attack with. It's not a double turbo energy, but it's an energy.
Yeah, double turbo would have been the best one to find here. I think the issue is that Giratina V-Star just has so much HP. You can afford to just Lost Zone the energy from your Arceus V-Star and just say, look, Giratina is fully powered up.
Yeah.
There's nothing in your deck that can withstand this attack. I'm going to get 2 prize cards here. I'm going to get 1 the next turn. You could maybe like escape rope out the Arceus and catch me with no energy to retreat, but it seems mostly inevitable that Landen will be able to close this game out.
Listen, there's always the Echoing Horn, Aqua Storm play. I don't know if Grant's going to be able to thin the deck down enough to guarantee it.
Yeah, especially with no Comfey left. Though it does have Echoing Horn and Energy Recycler in hand.
Hey, there's like 10 cards in the deck. You can take the risk.
Okay, Landen's going to split the difference here. Remove one from each.
You have the double turbo energy. I think it's fine.
Yeah. Okay, we do see a concealed cards, but no Chorus's Experiment, no Clara,
No
nothing
Mirage
to really
Gate.
continue this. And Grant just going to pass, and that's going to be it.
Yep.
Landen's going to tie up this series 1-1, and we're going to head into a deciding Game 3 to see which of these two players will be our finalist here in Portland.
Wouldn't have it any other way for this top 4 match. Both of these players trying to find the last win in this match to make it to finals. And from finals, trying to be regional champion here in Portland, Oregon.
Yet again, Jeremy, no Aqua Storm for us.
It's coming. I feel it.
Just saving it for Game 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. A game with no Aqua Storm and no Nest Dash. What's the point?
Okay, that game didn't count. Let's replay game 2. Everything's fine.
All right.
Landen does get to go first. That's going to be pretty big here.
Yeah, Grant gets to go first, right?
Oh, yeah. Grant
Landen
gets to
just
go
won
first.
Game 2, yeah.
Maybe Grant wants to go second.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you won first, but yeah. So I think this is where, your nerves can get to you. Both of these players have been playing excellently over the course of the event. Both these players have gotten deep into tournaments, but, Grant has played in a few more top 8s than Landen has. This could be a situation where the experience gives you an advantage. There's lots of nerves. This is the highest pressure game of the event for you, right? You lose and you're out. So you got to focus in and play your best if you want to win this one and get to the finals.
Looking at those prizes, though, double Comfey, Cramorant, but starts Comfey and Battle VIP Pass. Wow, finally.
Hey, he got one. Yeah, and the Comfey start. Wow. Yeah, we'll see what it looks like when Grant has a good start.
Going to take a quick moment, check the prizes, see that there is 2 Comfey, a couple energy, Cramorant.
Now, there are 2 Comfey prized, so that could be a little annoying. I mean, you'll certainly go for Radiant Greninja, probably a second Comfey if you don't have one in hand already, but not having access to a third or fourth one, that could be a problem.
Again, eyeing down that Comfey and Radiant Greninja, checking for the rest of the deck. And there we go. We're going to start seeing a flower selecting, and I didn't see any energy in Grant's hand.
Yep, you do need that to use concealed cards.
It helped.
Yep. So Grant going to thin the deck out by 1 more card, playing this Nest Ball first. I have to believe that, if there were a third Comfey in there, he would have taken that, but still worth taking this Sableye just to improve the odds of finding an energy card off of this, or improving the odds of finding a Chorus's Experiment for next turn.
Thinning is winning, and that is what Grant is trying to do here. Gonna have to rely off this flower selecting. Look at the top 2. Has a switch card in hand, so you can get another one.
Even a Hisuian Heavy Ball is not bad here.
All right, Beach Court Energy Recycler. One's good right now, one you need for later.
Yep. This is a tough one. Energy Recycler is an important resource as the game progresses. You do play several of them, but each one you have to throw away is a little bit painful.
All right, for Sealstone, Clara.
Talk about painful.
2 recovery cards going down.
Do you think Grant has a... Does Grant have a Forest Sealstone? Yeah. I don't think... Well, you could just play it down here knowing your opponent is likely to... Or maybe not likely, but possible to play a Judge. So this just makes sure that You definitely have something to do, and look at that, top deck's a judge. So yeah, this just makes sure that nothing real bad can happen. You will find a Colress's Experiment next turn at worst.
And you've played through the game a lot. You basically know your opponent's list. You know your opponent's not going to be playing that loss remover. Or loss vacuum.
Vacuum, yeah. That was a different loss
Different
time.
loss time, yeah. Nest Ball will find Arceus V. Another Nest Ball will find
Maybe
Giratina?
the Giratina. This has been kind of the lineup that Landen has been going with. Just the 3 big Pokemon V. Got the 2 Arceus, and then the Giratina to deal with the Dragonite that's going to come at some point. This is a little scary for Landen, I think.
no energy.
Yeah, just going to go for the Judge.
The good old triple Nest Ball Judge.
Did not find the Squovit.
Nope.
So yeah, this is a massive 4 cards for Landen. You need to find an energy card here. Obviously, the most important one would be to find double turbo, then you can Trinity Charge, but you need to find some attachment here. Otherwise, you're not even going to threaten a turn to attack with Arceus V-Star. So these 4 cards are crucial for Landen. And maybe +1 with the Squovit.
Maybe, yeah. There is 3 Nest Ball down, so. All right, 4 cards for both players. Energy. Oh, double turbo. The rest of the hand, not very good.
That is a hand that I would stash away, personally.
The 4th Nest Ball. You gotta be kidding me. All right, Trinity Charge. You get 3 energy from your deck attachment to your Pokemon V in any way you like. Just eyeing down all the basic energy in the deck. You got 6 to work with. 7.
Yeah, the good news, if Grant attacks with Cramorant, Power Edge can knock that out, so you don't need Arceus V-Star quite yet. The bad news, if Grant is able to get 7 in the Lost Zone, Mirage Gate onto Dragonite V, that Dragon Gale is going to be barreling down on you very quickly, and it's going to be maybe top deck or bust for Landen. So what Grant does on this turn is really going to define how this game needs to play out.
Let's look at these 4 cards. Doesn't look like a Colress's Experiment, so it's going to have to Flower Selecting.
Yeah, I mean, Grant has Star Alchemy, got Flower Selecting, got Concealed cards.
Yeah, but you want to save that Star Alchemy for the last possible scenario, just in case you need to get something like that Lost Vacuum.
Definitely.
All right, Concealed cards, Flower Selecting, Lost Zone now to 3. Has the switch cart into another Comfey.
Yep, so far not great. I'm sure Grant would love to have a third Comfey.
Mirage Gates.
It has a water energy as well, though. Those are precious resources.
All right, we're hoping for that Lost Vacuum off of Colress's Experiment. Let's go.
I think so, yeah. Doesn't feel great. You could also get Hisuian Heavy Ball to find a third Comfey. Then you need, some more switching cards to pull this off. But yeah, so much like the Judge for Landen was very important, these 5 cards off of Colress's Experiment going to be super important for Grant. If he could pull off an attack with Dragonite V here, he could take the lead in this 3rd game. Something he hasn't really. Normally, you don't take the lead in the early game with this deck, but could kind of flip the script.
The powerful supporter was found off of Star Alchemy, Colress's Experiment, and Grant is going to have to rely on the top 5 cards of the deck, trying to find that Lost Vacuum to get 7 in the Lost Zone this turn.
Here we go.
No.
Hisuian Heavy Ball, though.
Hisuian Heavy Ball and Switch card. I think.
Ooh, this is rough. There's 2 energy and a recycler, but also the Heavy Ball. So the Heavy Ball can get you a third Comfey. The Switch card can let you switch, but you have to throw away some sort of precious resource if you want to go for the big attack this turn.
And Grant does play 5 water energies, but we've seen 3 of them already. 1 in hand, 1 in the Lost Zone, 1 in this Colress's Experiment.
Yikes.
This is such a tough decision here.
These are the tough ones, yes. I mean, it also means you may not get an attack off. Now, let's see what Grant decides to go with here. Definitely favoring the heavy ball to go after that Comfey in the prize cards. And then it becomes a question of, I mean, do you want to attack with Dragonite? Do you want to attack with Radiant Greninja to spread some damage? What do you feel like is the best route for your victory? Actually, going for the Cramorant.
Yeah, grabbing Cramorant and get some damage with Spit Innocently.
All right. That is, I guess, a less risky way to do this.
And I think because Grant didn't take that switch card, doesn't have a switch out in hand, is just going to have to attach and retreat manually.
Yep. Okay, so Grant just saying, you know what, I don't need to go for the flashy play here. Just 110 damage is good enough, and this is a big top deck for Landen. It was a path to the peak.
All right.
Is it time?
It's time.
Landen has no knockout currently on this Cramorant.
Now you can attach to the active.
No energy in hand.
Well, once you draw it off Nestash.
It's back. Oh, here we go. Your tournament is on the line here. You put it in the hands of old faithful Squobit.
Really looking for those berries. It's going to shuffle the hand.
I mean, personally, I'd be looking for a professor's research, but that's just me.
Arceus V-Star.
Yeah, that's a good one, too. All right, one card. What's it going to be?
Oh my gosh! Arceus V-Star off the top of the deck. If there's one thing Squobit is good at finding, it's V-Star Pokemon.
I mean, what do you even... if you're Grant, how do you even just get up and leave, right?
You still got to play.
Wow, okay. Well, this is going to be a game now. Unbelievable. The hero Squobit keeping Landen in the game once again. Whew.
Maybe we should have kept Squobit on the deck breakdown.
Yeah, it was there for a reason. Whew. Okay, I cannot believe my eyes, but once again, Nestash has found the exact card that Landen was looking for. I mean, just unbelievable.
Looks like off this Starbirth Professor's Research and a V-Guard Energy are found. The V-Guard will help with this. Arceus V-Star use Trinity Nova to attack. Research will grab this brand new hand, which hopefully doesn't go to the bottom with Nestash anytime soon.
7 new cards. Do find the Giratina V-Star as well.
Trekking Shoes. Discard that Arceus V.
I'm still just stunned from what we just witnessed.
I don't blame you. Even a replacement path to the peak after you did everything. Trinity Nova taking the knockout, charging up the Arceus V and that Giratina V-Star.
All right, so Grant's going to have to try a lot harder to win this game now. Fortunately, the Squobit does open up new avenues for Grant. Opens up a lot more plays with Lost Mine and Echoing Horn. So in theory, now you only need to knock out 2 Pokemon V or V-Star to get those 4 prize cards. Then you can Lost Mine or even Moonlight Shuriken the Squobit, then bring it back with Echoing Horn and knock it out one more time. So even though it was devastating what happened, it does potentially make it easier for you to close out the game later on.
It does, and that's the risk you have to play, but you got to go for it. Landen had nothing.
Oh, yeah.
It really needed that one card off of that Nestash. And Grant here just going through the motions again. Got a ton of energy in hand. Mirage Gate.
Another tough choice off this flower selecting. I think there was a Mirage Gate in there.
That's not what you want to see.
Mirage Gate, oof, does go to the Lost Zone. This is one of those engine cards for this deck. It's how you power up these expensive 3 energy attacks like the Dragon Gale, the Moonlight Shuriken.
did opt for the switch cart over that Mirage Gate as well.
Now we have 7 in the Lost Zone, not quite in Lost Mine range yet. If you have a Mirage Gate, there's a lot of energy in hand too. If you have a Mirage Gate, do you power up the Dragonite or
no.
the Greninja? Oh, that's a sad.
Energy Recycler putting back the water and the lightning, but that's because Grant drew essentially the rest of the waters in the deck.
Yep. Couldn't even concealed cards first because Path to the Peak. Normally you would do that and then shuffle 3 back in. Yeah, this is rough. I think that's now 2 Energy Recycler gone. Which leaves just 1 left for Grant. All these resources are very precious. I mean, the Kyogre is very ambitious. Having only 1 Energy Recycler left and having hardly any energy in your deck. But just thinning it out of the deck at this point.
All right, switch card in hand will mean Grant has the ability to attack with Dragonite V this turn. Attach for turn. And we're going to see the Dragon Gale for the knockout. But that Giratina V-Star is ready to go on Landen's bench.
Yeah, we do see the response lined up pretty nicely. This game's going to be really close as we go along. I think the question is, can Grant close out the game just using Lost Mine the rest of the way? Obviously, you have the Squovit play at this point. You could potentially, do enough where you can line up like a Moonlight Shuriken to close out the game at some point. But so many precious resources are gone for Grant. I think just 1 Energy Recycler left. Lots of energy in the Lost Zone, lots of energy in the hand, so you can't Mirage Gate them unless your opponent plays a Judge. Oh, there you go.
Yep. Now you just need to find the Mirage Gates again.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one.
Yeah. Path to the Peak still in play, meaning concealed cards is not an option for Grant on the following turn. Landen did attach that V-Guard energy, so we'll have to get rid of that and potentially just an energy off the Arceus V with that Lost Impact.
Of course, Lost Impact is costly. You have to put 2 energy into the Lost Zone attached from your Pokemon every time you use it. The first one is definitely worth it. You're going to get 2 prize cards off of that, and you have 7 energy in play right now. The more you use it, the more painful it becomes, especially if you're only getting 1 prize knockouts. So, this one's fine, but the rest of the way it might be difficult. Double Turbo, though, is a good thing to send into the Lost Zone. Means you only have to throw away 1 energy card.
Wow. All right. Grant's hand is insane. Just drew a Chloris' Experiment for the turn.
Oh, got one finally.
You have the Pokestop, I believe, to bump that Path to the Peak. Found Echoing Horn off the Chloris' Experiment.
All right.
Lost Vacuum as well.
If you're Grant, and you have 3 turns to win the game, you have to assume your opponent is going to take a knockout every turn from here on out. So how do you piece together a plan where you win the game in 3 turns?
All right, it's got to start with knocking out that Squovit. We don't need that Nestash around any longer.
That's the most dangerous card.
Going to Flower Selecting, finally hitting that 10 number in the Lost Zone. That means Lost Mine is going to be available to him. I don't know about the Psychic Energy, though.
Yeah, I don't see one. Is there a way to switch out here? I mean, Pokestop is extremely risky at this point. If you mill any energy, it feels very painful, but it can get you some crucial item cards.
Looking through, I think there's 2 Mirage Gate left. They were on top, so a Pokestop would have just went boom.
Dang.
Grant is doing the best plays possible to try to thin the deck before committing to a certain play like that.
Very tense game here to decide which of our players will be moving on to the finals here in Portland. Will it be Landen with the Arceus Giratina deck? Will it be Grant with this Lost Zone deck? It's Dragonite V and Kyogre. See a big escape rope. This potentially bails Landen out a bit. allows you to attack with Arceus instead of Giratina. And we do see a Sableye head to the Lost Zone, but the other card was more important. That was a Mirage Gate, which you'll definitely need at some point. I'm not sure how many Grant has gone through at this point. We know one has been played. One's in the Lost Zone there. We can see it. Another one in hand.
I was just saying there's 2 left.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. It's like you don't even listen to me.
Did you say something?
No. Mirage Gate played here. It's not going to be what Grant wants, but you need that psychic energy on Sableye. And yeah, we're going to have the other one go on the Comfey so you can retreat. Sableye can Lost Mine, and it'll be interesting to see where Grant places this damage. If you actually do take the knockout on Squovet, or you want to soften up both of these V Pokemon.
Yep. Yeah, this is tough. I mean, if you want to go through both Pokemon V Star, and they both have 280 HP, that means you're going to have to do 560 total damage. Can you pull that off in 3 turns? Is there a better route?
It has to involve something with the likes of Echoing Horn or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
Pokestop.
I think in this situation, what you can eye up is, this turn, go for the Lost Mine, knock out Squovit, put some damage somewhere. Next turn, try to Lost Mine again. You play Clara, you get back Dragonite V and the Sableye. After you Echoing Horn, of course, you knock out the Squovit again, you have everything softened up, and then you can close out with the Dragonite V, use that final Mirage Gate and Energy Recycler to get one last Dragon Gale to clean up your last 2 prize cards. Feels like it's very susceptible to judge, but this seems like the best plan. Yeah, spreading the 3 damage counters, that will set up the Dragon Gale for later.
Arceus V start drawn for the turn 4 Landen. Who needs Squovet anymore? Ultra Ball and double Turbo Energy in hand.
Throws away the right hand.
Right hand and double Turbo. And is just going to fail this most likely. Guess you can thin the deck out a little bit and grab that Arceus V, but I don't think we're going to see it benched.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's my bad.
Probably not. This one's down to the wire.
The remaining cards in hand for Landen, I think it was double Turbo Energy, Boss's Orders. Maybe one more that I'm forgetting.
Is there anything you would try to Boss's Orders here? I feel like you just want to knock out the Sableye.
We'll have to see. There's also a Trekking Shoes.
Trekking shoes.
Escape Rope.
You'd probably throw that one away. I think you're looking for Judge.
How about a Cleansing Gloves?
Not quite.
It's almost the same thing, right?
Sure.
Okay. It's not. With this hand, now you just have to decide. Pokestop. That's not good.
You don't get that either. It's not an item anymore.
It's not an item, yeah.
It's a tool.
Oh, no.
I'm reading the card of it. I know. I have to mill Forest Sealstone, and it's like, okay.
Grant saying how he's milled Forest Sealstone several times now. That is that rule change with Scarlet and Violet. Now, Pokemon tool cards are their own category, no longer considered item cards.
Cramomatic in shambles.
Yep.
Item lock in shambles.
Yeah.
I will.
And with this, just gonna not even attach for the turn, and is benching the Arceus V.
Okay. I mean, you have the double turbo, so it can't get stranded. As long as you have some energy left to power up Giratina V-Star, this seems reasonable.
Just the one energy, though. He's been discarding the rest of the double turbos. No Giratina available to attack for the rest of the game, it seems like.
Huh.
Raihan discarded.
Yeah, that might be all the energy. Is there a V-Guard left somewhere?
Oh, there's energy in the prize cards.
Ah. Yeah, V-Guard was one of the things that could have messed with the math for potential Dragonite V as we go along. All right, Grant, seeing how many cards are left.
Can we Can we Echoing Horn Aqua Storm?
I
mean, if you hit 5 anyway, you knock out both on the bench, but...
I don't think there's enough energy left to pull that off, and there's only one recycler.
Oh, come on.
This is tense. I think Grant might need Clara this turn. There's one in the lost zone. Do have Flower selecting.
I think there's one in hand. No, it's double Colress's experiment.
Yeah, Grant might be deciding, should I use Pokestop first? And here we go.
Oh, wow.
Ooh. Okay, if you mill the Clara, it reduces your odds, but, well, it reduces your odds to 0 because you can't get it. But this does thin the deck significantly and now improves your odds to hit it off of the Flower selecting.
Here's that Flower selecting. Escape rope found. That's another shot at it.
Sure is.
Grip of cards for Grant here. He's trying to find that Clara.
All right, will he retreat first, escape rope first? I assume that's what he's digging. The lost zone, one too many cards. Excruciating to go through all those options and not be able to find an answer. But congratulations to Landen for finding the way out, and congratulations to Squovit for finding the perfect card to keep Landen in the tournament.
Multiple times. Yeah. Insane to think about. The little squirrel doing everything possible to put Landen into the finals. We'll figure out who he's going to be playing against, but insane. Arceus V-Star, Giratina V-Star in finals.
Yeah, what an incredible match. I almost forgot that was the game where Landen hit the Arceus V-Star off the one card from the Nest Dash. Felt like so long ago, but wow. What else can you say? I mean, that was just an incredible match.
Yeah, it was insane. Definitely a highlight reel one for sure. And if Landen ends up winning this entire thing, I think Squovit's going to be someone's new favorite Pokemon.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame him either. Yeah, I mean, the first time it wasn't even a game winner, but like the Giratina V-Star was the card that was needed, but it was definitely a game winner in Game 3.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't find an Arceus V-Star there,